So this is the Donald Trump special because it's the 45th episode.
The 45th.
It's the 45th.
Everyone's talking about this. They're saying, great. Have you heard this?
Have you heard this, folks?
Have you heard this? Everyone's saying it's the best thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about it.
I love it. You love it. They love it.
They love it. The podcast is doing things no one's seen before. It's never been done, making record numbers, making big things.
There's lazy podcasts out there, folks. All right? They do nothing. They're lazy.
They're do-nothing podcasts.
Do-nothing podcasts. Not us. Not us, folks. Is that a good opener? It seems like we already just shunned half of our audience.
I mean,
away.
if there's any intersectionality between two things, it's Donald Trump and fan fiction.
I would say a more cohesive intersection would be Bill Clinton in fan fiction. But Donald is probably a close second.
Well, we beat that half to death, Bill Clinton. So now it's time for us, like the Obama Democrats, to just go ahead and swing our weight on over to the other side of the aisle.
Swing somewhere else.
Just swing it on over here.
Get everybody to drop out and swing in another direction.
Let me just take all of Western Pennsylvania and swing it on over
this way. Interesting. Hello. Yes, I hope we didn't turn you off with our Donald Trump talk, but here we are.
It's going to be like that's the modern equivalent of pillow talk, because no one's hooking up anymore. It's all Donald Trump talk.
It's basically Twitter.
Oh, baby.
It's all Twitter.
Do it to me.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
It's the biggest.
Oh, no. Stop.
I can assure you, there's no problem.
I show you, folks. He hugged a flag after giving a speech. I don't know why, but that's just so fucking funny. What the fuck?
Oh,
he walked over the flag and he held his hands up like, what?
Should I give it up?
And then he puts his arms around it and he points at it like, look at this guy. And then he just gives it a big hug and then kisses it. What the fuck? What the fuck was I watching?
If it wasn't so troubling, it would be hilarious. It would be hilarious. We will look back on it as hilarious. We will look back on it as the funniest thing.
Yeah, it was funny. Anyways, here we are, and that was a shitty opener topic.
For our fan fiction podcast,
yes.
Which is what we are.
Suck my fanfic. I would like to take a quick second before we start to ask something of you, dear listener. We love you. We grind for this, sort of. Been pretty shitty in 2020, but
we grind.
Yeah, we kind of fell short 2020, but we're trying to rectify that anonymity. And
the pressure of starting a new year and starting a new decade, like who hasn't already failed their ambitious goals?
That's actually a good point, and that makes me feel better because I'm not alone in my failure. Yeah.
Not only are you a failure, but I am a failure, and this podcast is a failure. That's 3 right there.
And if you're listening, you're probably one too because you've sunk this low. Mm-hmm. So if you're here, if we're all in the gutter together, you might as well head on over to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, however you listen to us, and give us a rating. Why not?
Drop those review bombs.
Drop review bombs. If you're listening on YouTube,
give us a 1-star. Let us know you're out there.
If you don't like us, give us a 1-star. I see some other podcasts who get bad reviews all the time, and they'll screenshot them and tweet them and be like, fuck this guy. I won't even do that. I'll be like, yo, thanks for listening. Yeah, we got a 1-star. Jeez, we got a 4-star once. My feelings were hurt. I think that's a bigger insult.
That is true.
I'd rather miss the mark completely than by 1 star.
These guys were just miles off target as opposed to, I could see what they were going for because we're trying really hard. I don't know how else we could do this better. I'd rather be way off.
That's what I'm saying.
Perfect.
If you give us a 1, I've missed the mark entirely. We don't know what we're doing, and I can at least tell myself they just didn't like us. We weren't for them.
Oh, this really isn't for me. Being 4 stars is I need to keep pushing.
4 stars is they can improve, and it's what can I improve on? You didn't give me any fucking feedback. You just said needs improvement.
Yeah, 1 star is just. You need to improve on everything.
Yeah,
top
that's
to
fine.
bottom.
Because then I'm not going to listen.
Yeah.
So if you don't like, if you really want to hurt my feelings, give us a 4-star.
5-star, that's nice. 4-star will drive me insane. 1-star, I'm not going to listen to the haters anyway.
Yeah, exactly. At a lot of restaurants and businesses, when they have the reviews, it's either 5 stars or nothing, baby.
Mm-hmm. If you give us a 3-star, I'm going to be very perplexed.
It counts as a 1-star. Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's how we should calculate things.
Exactly. So please take the time to review us. If you like us, it helps get it out there, which is nice. And I know we've said this before.
And if you don't, it buries us.
It does, exactly.
Behind all the other ones.
Yeah, and I know we've said this before too, but even better than that, show us some people that you think might like this show, we really
don't do too much advertising outside of Twitter and reaching out to folks.
Yeah, so I think word of mouth will always be the best way to advertise. So if you like us, tell your friends, tell your family. I don't know. Maybe you and your sibling grew up writing fanfic together, and now you can bond over the show. I don't know what's going on in your life. Quite frankly, I don't want to know. But yeah. So just wanted a quick PSA.
I'm glad you. That was a very nice advertising pitch. I'm glad you buried it in our 45th episode behind a Donald Trump wall.
Yeah.
Maybe let's cut it and put it in an ad.
I always like to set myself up for failure and then give the best performance I can.
Exactly.
That's sort of like my trademark thing.
It's like, well, this is going to be terrible. Actually, that was very good, but it's all a little too late.
But now you don't remember the Donald Trump thing.
Who?
Exactly.
Huh?
Yeah.
Where am I?
Opening topic. Ryan, what is your favorite fantasy series?
My favorite fantasy series. Fantasy.
Yeah.
Not so science fiction would be Star Wars, I guess.
Yeah.
I call Star Wars fantasy. But I like Lord of the Rings is my classic go to.
There's an argument by the pretentious literarians that say it's all a part of Phantasmagoria? Whatever.
Phantasmagorism?
Phantasmagoria? I don't know what it's called. Basically, there are people who say that if it's not real fiction, it's all fantasy.
I would say, especially like the way that Star Wars kind of ended, they did not obey any of their own rules.
Did you see
kind of strew into fantasy for sure?
In the novelization, the kiss was a kiss of gratitude. It was not a romantic kiss.
That's called having your cake and eating it too, my friend.
That's called, fuck you, you're going to watch this.
That's called the fans, the people who were at the theaters were like, oh, they're gonna, oh, okay, that's very interesting.
They're kissing.
And then all the fans who were upset about it, who read the novel, will be like, I knew it the whole time.
Gratitude. Raylo's not real. So, I was scrolling through the tweeters one day.
Sure.
And we probably buried this by talking over you. You said your favorite fantasy is...
Lord of the Rings.
J.R.R. Tolkien. So we got The Hobbit and the 3 Lord of the Rings. And it's the quintessential fantasy book.
Sure.
George R. R. Martin likes to call people Tolkienites, and basically says that anything fantasy written after that for like 30 years is just trying to be like Tolkien.
Interesting.
Which arguably he kind of set that whole genre in motion.
Sure.
Like taking the medieval setting, adding in the different things, the languages, the maps. Every fucking fantasy book that came after that had to have a fucking map. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he really canonized that trope, that idea.
Sure.
Insurmountable. I mean, he is
a titan of the genre.
No one's going to be more important than him for the fantasy genre.
Sure.
And even George R. R. Martin would say, like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
Right. And even, again, he obviously had his influence as well. I mean, he drew on a lot.
Yeah.
You go back to, like, the very, like, chivalry, knights and shining armor on him. He obviously took a lot from that. But he was able to package it in a way that could be just consumed on a scale that had never been done before.
And he wrote songs, poems, histories, epics, like so much for this world, which is arguably never been passed. You know what I mean? Like, has anyone done more than that for the fantasy genre?
Well, I feel like people have done more, but across like maybe like 15 books. Like with just what he has done. Dense.
Yeah, and exclude anything that wasn't the 4 books. Think about all the shit that's in those 4. It's insane. So I was scrolling through the tweeters, and I saw this like big debate of Tolkien v. Herbert.
Okay.
And so I was like, all right, well, what's going on here? Why is there a Tolkien v. Herbert? You remember that taco commercial where they're like, soft or hard? Oh, no, it was, I don't remember what it was, but it was a little girl. And she was like, why not both? And
is that an Ortega? Is that an Ortega commercial?
Yeah. So mine was...
Ortega, I just name dropped him, so we have to pay for that now.
Yeah, fuck.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Ryan. Anyways, I was reading the little debate, and all I said was, why not both? But people were...
They did not hoist you on their shoulders and have a fiesta.
They were just arguing like a motherfucker. So...
Are we going to read through some of these arguments and talk about them?
I'm going to talk about it a little bit, yeah.
Oh, that's
I wanted
wonderful.
to talk about the Tolkien v. Herbert debate. If this is the first time you've listened to us.
Okay.
I like the Dune series, written by Frank Herbert.
Sure.
So when I'm talking about Tolkien v. Herbert, it's basically the battle of Goliaths, Ryan v. me.
I'm not Ving you on anything. I don't know anything about Herbert. I'm sure he's a very nice guy.
Yeah. So,
or he's a total douche.
Yo, fuck you.
Like I said, I don't know anything about
him. So there was basically this narrative being pushed by both sides that Tolkien didn't like Herbert.
They were contemporaries then.
They were close in age. I mean, when did the Lord of the Rings come out? The 50s?
Yeah, I mean, Tolkien served in World War II, so
World War I.
World War I. I'm sorry, so he was older for sure.
He was older. For sure,
I don't know what Frank Herbert's age was.
He died in 86, and his Dune 1 came out in 65.
Okay, so he's older than I thought.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely older than some people know of, for sure, I guess. But the first Lord of the Rings book came out in 1954.
When did The Hobbit come out?
The Hobbit did come out before that, didn't it? Preceded by The Hobbit.
1937. Is that
Yeah,
right?
1937.
Holy mackerel.
So there was a 28-year gap between The Hobbit and Dune 1. I don't think we can compare the two. I think we should compare Fellowship of the Ring.
Sure.
So what do we say, 54?
Yeah.
So an 11-year gap.
That's insane to think of how wildly different those books. Like he was writing these medieval times books, whereas this was such like a futuristic novel that was written.
So
you got to also think what happened in that 11-year span. There's a massive difference between when that book was published, just a decade.
Yeah, and also the three Lord of the Rings books were written over a period of a decade, a couple decades, right? And Herbert wrote Dune in 8 years. So he started it in wrote it in 9 years. I think he started in 56, maybe 58. But he wrote it in a few years as well. He didn't just come out of him, obviously. And he tried to get it published for a long time. So for some reason, there's this big this big Herbert v. Tolkien debate. And it comes from a book called Tolkien's Library, where someone took all the books that he owned. And
who owns it? Tolkien?
Tolkien,
okay,
yeah.
Sure.
And put them in order, and then went through his letters and his manuscripts, and anytime he mentioned them, they put the mention. Or anytime that he cited one of the books, they would put it.
Okay.
Right? So here it is, Herbert Frank Dune, Chilton Books, 1965. PS1, Tolkien's unpublished letter to Sterling Lanier, 29 September 1965, so right after Dune comes out. Tolkien writes, Dear Mr. Lanier, I received your book Dune just before I went abroad for a short while, hence the delay in acknowledging it. I don't think I shall have time to read it until I next get a holiday. So that was the first time he mentions it. Second time he mentions it. Tolkien's unpublished letter to John Bush, 12 March 1966. Tolkien writes, Thank you for sending me a copy of Dune. I received one last year from Lanier, and so already knows something about the book. It is impossible for an author still writing to be fair to another author working along the same lines. At least I find it so. In fact, I dislike Dune with some intensity, and in that unfortunate case, it is much the best and fairest to another author to keep silent and refuse to comment. Would you like me to return the book as I already have one, or hand it on?
Did he say he read it? I didn't really catch the beginning. He got the original copy and he said he disliked it? Or is he saying he dislikes it because we're in the same industry and like if this guy's taken off, I'm mad at him?
Tolkien, classy as fuck.
Yeah. Also, he might also be mad because, like, again, you see at the end he brings it back to, if you would like, I will return the book because I already got the. Why does everyone keep giving me this book?
This fucking
He's
book.
getting like socks.
Or should I hand it on?
Yeah.
And the other, so I read.
What do you want me to do? Because I already have 5 copies.
I already have 5 copies. I don't need any more. And so
he sounds more upset that he has so many copies of Dune.
A little bit, yeah. But what I thought was interesting is you read through some of the replies. 2 of my favorite authors ... hate each other. So oh
my god,
this little thing. First off, I don't think Frank Herbert said anything about Tolkien that wasn't positive. And also,
is he on record saying I don't know what
I'll have to look at that. Sure. Tolkien didn't say he didn't like Frank Herbert. All he said was, I dislike the book with intensity. He didn't say, I think Frank Herbert's a piece of shit. He just said, I don't really like the book. But classy, he said, I don't like the book, and I'm not going to publicly comment on it because I feel that's inappropriate.
No, let's dig up a dead man's letters and post them online.
Exactly.
But for real though, I think his perception of the book is probably colored by the fact that people keep giving it to him. Yeah. Imagine he read it and he was like, I'm on holiday. That's nice. And they're like, yo, have you read this book? Yo, have you read this book? Yo, you write books. You read this one.
You've read this book, better. Right? And so
he's probably like, yeah, I hate it. Okay, stop sending it to me.
I read on some of the reasons why he might not have liked it. Okay. I thought it was interesting.
Sure.
So one of the things is apparently the first copy he was given, they charged him for.
This sounds like a terrible experience of gift giving.
It's like he got this and they're like, oh, you should read this. And he's like, thanks. And like, but you have to pay us. Here's the book, but now you have to pay us. And he was like, well, I'm not going to pay for it. Like,
I'm J.R. Tolkien. I get books for free.
Yeah.
If I want to read a book, I write a book.
So A, he was already pissed off about that. B, apparently at the time, I think there was some legal thing going on with him. I'm trying to find the person who talked about it. But basically, if I remember correctly, he was going through a bad point in his life already.
Okay.
And so he was reading it during a time where he just wasn't happy in general.
That's fair.
So the idea is maybe he would have liked it, but he was already had a bad taste in his mouth due to the fact that they were trying to charge him for the book, and he wasn't very happy to begin with. So, I mean, it makes sense that he wouldn't be a big fan of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't fault him for that.
Yeah.
But it bothers me that someone wants to sit here and, like, basically pit these two authors against each other.
Wow, my two favorite authors hate each other, and now they're going to split up, just like my parents.
Yeah, like...
That's just a...
You're projecting.
Yes.
You're honestly projecting there, because it's not how that works. Like, it's just not how it works.
They hate each other, Alex.
They hate each other.
J.R.R. Tolkien didn't like his book. They hate each other.
Thinking about this, because Dune always gets compared to Lord of the Rings. Okay. Lord of the Rings gets compared to Dune. And it's mainly because of the fact that the world building...
Their scope.
The scope
ambition.
is humongous.
Right.
The ambition, the characters. I read one thing that said, of course Tolkien didn't like Dune. It actually has strong female characters.
Ooh,
which I guess is like a...
Sure, yeah.
Are there, like, no female characters in The Hobbit?
In The Hobbit?
Yeah.
I'd have to think about that more, but none come to mind immediately, no.
Exactly. And I can tell you there's the Bene Gesserit, which are amazing. Lady Jessica is probably one of my favorite characters in literature. So,
also, you wrote it in the 60s. Again, the difference between the 50s and the 60s is decades.
They're big.
Is very large.
Huge.
Worth mentioning.
But so,
and it's considering they were written, 50s was probably written during the 40s, and then the 60s written during the 50s. So,
also, Dune was published by a auto repair manual publishing company.
As opposed to Lord of the Rings, which was just published as a straight-up novel, right off the bat, right?
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, there was one point where they told
very traditional, as opposed to right.
Yeah, he almost had to cut down by like 60% the book, like cut out 60%
because it was an auto repair.
No, because it was too long.
Where was it published again?
Chilton Books. It's not around anymore.
Okay,
but they were famous for publishing auto repair manuals.
That's awesome.
And he couldn't get it published anywhere else. He was told it was too long. He was told it was. No one would care about science fiction like that.
It sounds like the underdog, and Lord of the Rings is like the anointed, the Alabama of college football. And here comes I don't know. There are no underdogs in college football. That was a bad example.
Yeah, but just think about this. Frank Herbert with his third book, Children of Dune, my least favorite book so far of the series. First science fiction novel to hit the New York Times bestseller list. He beat out Isaac Asimov and Ray Bradbury.
Those are some good authors.
And all of the people that came before them. So think about what that means for that genre, science fiction genre. Equally as important to science fiction.
Keeping in theme with our episode, the failing New York Times.
Yeah, the failing New York Times.
Bestseller.
So
I wouldn't want J.R.R. Tolkien on that list anyway.
No, I wouldn't want him. I don't like him. Get him out of here. So I know this, that we're going to have this conversation. You Google Herbert v. Tolkien. Why is there so much shit that comes up? Like, it's just like a narrative to pit them against each other. Quora, which writer, J.R.R. Tolkien or Frank Herbert, is considered the greater literary genius?
Yeah, it seems like it's like Coke versus Pepsi. I mean, you just want two titans, you want to compare them to each other.
Yeah, and you just want to knock them. And I think that says something about, like, fandom. I think it says something about franchise.
The tribalism of fandom, sure.
And it's like, I understand that you're passionate about it. I'm super passionate about the book that I like. I'm totally okay with Ryan thinking Lord of the Rings is better.
I think Dune is one of the worst, most reprehensible works of writing ever.
Yeah, and I mean, you can be a fucking idiot like that if you want. No, I'm joking. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why you have to pit it. So we have that. Okay. Then we have one from quarterlyreview.org. Couldn't begin to tell you what it is. Middle Earth versus Duneverse, the different worlds of Tolkien and Herbert. And they're sitting there trying to compare which one's a bigger scope and which one's more fleshed out and which one's better. And it's just like, okay, like what are we getting at here?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? What do we have here? Geekforum.com. Brian Herbert versus Christopher Tolkien. Who's worse?
The sons?
It's literally like pitting the sons against who sucks more.
Both of their sons did, finish their work and continue their legacy.
Another thing that's very similar between the two.
So then I guess between like the camps, I bet the Lord of the Rings fans think Chris is worse, and then the Dune fans think...
It's literally like, who tore our idol down further?
Oh my gosh, that's just ridiculous levels.
Yeah, and then Goodreads. Is Frank Herbert the Tolkien of science fiction? And this is from...
I mean, I feel that's okay. I mean, it's different, notes of different genre.
But then all of the comments are basically going back and forth on why the other one sucks. Like, one of them is like, there are too many songs and poems in Lord of the Rings. And then someone else says, well, culture is more than just politics. Songs and poems are important. But there are also songs and poems in Dune.
Not enough, apparently. Not enough for this person.
Not enough. Yeah, so I don't know. I just think it's an interesting concept, like pitting these two authors against each other.
Right. I mean, well, people pit, movies against each other, like, oh, this is the greatest movie ever. How do you like that director, that actor?
Yeah.
And then they go on and on that way. I mean, people just like to have their thing.
Yeah.
And they can't have anything be better than their thing. It's got to be debated.
Exactly. So here's a question. Like, what's competing with Harry Potter? What's J.K. Rowling's, bullshit? I don't know.
It's a good question.
Hunger Games? Suzanne Collins?
Nah, I mean, not even really.
Because that's sort of like dystopia, I don't know, science fiction compared to...
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess, like, in some respects, like, the internet has allowed people, like, if I want to live in a Harry Potter echo chamber, I can, and I don't have to hear anything about how Game of Thrones... Like, Game of Thrones fans and Harry Potter fans don't hate each other. They're often the same. They're often the same person. But at the same time, that like roiling debate between fans of two things in like a similar arena is definitely not over. I mean, it's still everywhere. Got DC versus Marvel right there. Boom, that's a big one.
Right now, especially. So what's the George R. R. Martin Game of Thrones? Who's fighting that?
Everyone who watched Game of Thrones season 8.
Everyone who's like, yeah, you better not die before you finish this, you piece of shit. Mm-hmm. Which is just amazing to me that people are literally...
Star Wars is fighting their own fans.
Yeah.
People are just fighting each other themselves.
Yeah, maybe it's not franchise versus franchise now. It's just franchise versus itself.
Like, who's the biggest... I feel like there's, who's the biggest fan within a franchise.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And I like how there's like a... almost like a claim to ownership on a fandom. Where it's like, no, I was a Star Wars fan since I was 5, and so was my dad.
Yeah.
So fuck you for saying you were a fan since you were 6, because I've been a fan longer, and I know what it's supposed to be, and Rose is the worst, which is, factually true.
As a Star Wars fan since you were 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rose is the worst.
You can say that.
There's no redeeming qualities about Rose Tico whatsoever. It's the worst part of the 8th movie.
Spoken like a true Dune fan.
I'm just really trying to bait Ryder into saying something. Or, see, for me, the thing is, like, Tolkien's just in, like, another universe to me. The bigger thing to me is
different, right?
Dune v. Star Wars.
Sure, yeah.
Like, in my head, I'm like...
Why aren't we having that? Why aren't we having
this discussion right now? I listened to an interview with Frank Herbert where he said that there were 16 points of comparison between Star Wars and Dune. Because they're like, do you think George Lucas owes you lunch? He's like, at least. They're like, what do you mean? He's like, well, we've done some deep dives, and there's at least 16 points of comparison, which statistically is improbable to be a coincidence.
Sure.
It's like, yeah, I think you're pretty right about that one, Frank.
I'd say at least. He said a vein forming on the side of his head, his face turning purple.
Yeah, trying not to just fucking have an aneurysm about it. So yeah, I think the whole concept of my two favorite authors, ... hated each other. And I literally can't
That's such a ridiculous way to put it.
It is, too.
And that like, makes the whole thing seem so silly. And...
Did you even read the fucking quote about what he said? Because he didn't say that.
They hate each other. Oh, no.
No, they hate each other. And I literally can't find anything that Frank Herbert said about J.R.R. Tolkien. I can't. Like, I've been looking. And
they may have not even known. What are we talking about? I'm writing. I'm too busy writing.
I literally just wrote like a 600,000 word book that I have to split up. Fuck you. You know what I mean? It's like...
What do you think about J.R.R. Tolkien?
Yeah. He's like, I don't give a fuck about that right now, kids. I'm trying to write some shit about people like tripping balls to the fourth dimension.
And
fuck
then
you.
the flip side, J.R.R. Tolkien's like, yeah, it's great. Stop sending me copies.
Yeah,
you know what? I hate it.
Yeah, fuck it.
I hate it.
Fuck, it's bad. Stop sending copies. I hate it.
Let all of your friends know, especially around Christmas time, J.R.R. Tolkien hates
Dune.
You should not get it for Christmas. Please.
Do not give him a copy of Dune.
Because he hates it. Copy this and put it in every newspaper that I hate Dune. Please and thank you.
I really can't find anything that Herbert said about Tolkien. So yes,
obviously it was nothing incendiary, or else it would have been part of this debate.
So yes, that is my Herbert v. Tolkien debate. Which
the fact that it's even raging at all.
Yeah, the fact that and also it's funny to me that if we're just talking about the first Dune and the Lord of the Rings, they've been out for 55 years. And now there are people who are like, fuck Tolkien! Fucking bitch! Oh, you hate Frank Herbert, do you?
It sounds like Twitter, the internet was quiet for one day, so someone just hurled a rock from one end of the internet to the other and just struck someone in the forehead.
Oh, they're sitting at a bus stop just so unhappy with their lives, and like, scrolling through Twitter, just, wait a minute. There's no drama on here right now.
Wait, where's the drama? Scroll up, scroll down, refresh, got all the trending.
What's the Mean Girls? They take out that book where they write
burn book?
the burn book, and it's like they just imagine J.R. Tolkien like Frank Herbert is a bitch ass bitch, and it's just like what? It's like no, there was no problem here until you started one.
Yep.
And also, again,
stir up a couple BuzzFeed articles for the day. Yeah. Well, not even
15 reasons
BuzzFeed.
why J.R. Tolkien hated eating ass. But like.
Which Herbert Tolkien feudal meme are you?
Yeah, I read an article that was Time, and it was the best Harry Potter memes, and they're just it's literally like turn to page 394. They're like, this meme is great.
Time put that out?
Yeah.
Oh, Christ.
Do you know what a fucking meme is? You're just quoting the movie. Whatever about that one. But it just feels like you're starting shit, and again. I've never read Lord of the Rings, never read The Hobbit. Again, I can't even comment on it because I've never read them. I don't know which one's better. I haven't read them both. What a fucking class act on Tolkien's part. Because not only was he saying, look, I'm just not a big fan, but he said, I have enough respect for him as an equal in this field, this career field, to not comment on him.
Right.
Because I don't want to ruin his career.
And he even makes a point where he's like, I think like if it's natural to like not like your contemporaries because maybe you're jealous that they're making something better than yours, or you're like, I'm in this field and I do my thing because I like it. So if you're in this field and doing something different, I probably won't like it because I would have done it if I liked it.
What a fucking classy thing to say. What?
And then he tries to give the book to somebody. He's like, maybe you should read it.
He said, should I pass it on? Someone else might like it.
Yeah.
Sure, here you go. But no, it's like,
I got 20 more.
I have a fucking stack of these books that I can't get rid of.
Oh boy,
that's how I feel with being in school and being an anthropologist. Oh, you like anthropology? You ever read *Sapiens*? You want to read *Sapiens*?
Start making it rain.
Fuck you.
Thick books. Yeah.
But yeah, what a dumb.
Yeah, at that point, wouldn't you just tell them, I hate that book?
Yeah,
I hate that
book.
Hate it.
But I just wish more people nowadays were like that. Oh, I didn't like it? I don't need to make a big deal about it. I kind of have respect for the dude as a human being, so I just won't say anything about it. I'll keep my opinion to myself.
No, I need to let everyone know that I think J.R. Tolkien is better or worse than Frank Herbert. Like, this is the exact moment like that. Yeah. Does not need to be said at all.
No.
If J.R. Tolkien himself didn't feel the need to comment on it, then you do not need to comment on it.
As his fan, his self-proclaimed fan?
Or maybe someone who's...
Why are you adding
how many of those people do you think were just like barracudas hovering at the edge of the Twitter reef? And they're like, as soon as something happened, they're like, I'm going to go on both Wikipedia pages, pick a side, and I'm joining the fray. And they darted in there.
I love the like Wikipedia intelligence when you... Like every time something Marvel gets released, and it's like... They pick some obscure version of a character that was in it once that is like technically canon, but it's not the obvious canon thing. They're like, I don't fucking know. Like with Captain Marvel, we were just talking about Captain Marvel before we started recording.
That's literally what we talk about off air.
Yeah.
This podcast does not stop when the recording ends.
Yeah, no, it's basically the same shit.
Yeah.
But like Marvel, if no one's ever picked up a Marvel book, Marvel in the Captain Marvel movie is a woman. She's a Kree. She helps Brie Larson, Carol Danvers become Captain Marvel, right?
Yep.
In the comics, the original Captain Marvel is a man named Marvel. So the fucking movie comes out. The people who like the comics are like, this is pretty shitty. Like, we like Marvel the way he was. Why did you change it? Then you have fucking Wikipedia people like, actually, in one version of it, she was a woman, so fuck you. Why are you trying to erase a woman from the movie? Whoa. Let's calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? And the same thing with Carol Danvers wasn't even the first female Captain Marvel. Monica Rambeau was.
Mm-hmm.
What do? They make her 6. The little girl?
I never saw the movie. I'm a misogynist, obviously. I never saw the movie.
You fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, no, I never saw it.
Are you more a misogynist if you've never seen it or if you saw it and didn't like it?
That's like if a misogynist watches Captain Marvel in the Woods, do they even get an opinion, you know?
Not unless they post about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So which one's a bigger misogynist? Because I didn't like it and I saw it.
Yeah, I would say you, because you went to it, so obviously you like comic book movies enough to go to it. I can claim that I just had been so tired at that point, I didn't even want to see it.
Fuck. All right, well, figured that one out.
So you went to it, you wanted to like it, but then you saw a woman on screen and you just got so mad.
Yeah, because I didn't know from every fucking advertisement that a woman was going to be on screen the whole movie.
What a say? Wait
a minute. I thought this whole movie was about the male one. Man. Wait, you mean this isn't Shazam? Who's also Captain Marvel?
Yeah, you were very confused about the wrong
I was
ticket.
confused. Well, fuck.
Okay.
I'm going to move on because I don't want to be that.
Well, that was an interesting topic. And I think that was a good one.
Yeah.
It's just like a totally random rivalry. I think that just speaks more to us as people than to like the actual relationship between the work, for
and
sure.
They're both considered like the best stories in their field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, Dune is best science fiction novel of all time.
Sure.
I think Lord of the Rings is the best fantasy.
Yeah, one of them at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got it. Hang on, I'm going to fucking look this shit up.
I mean, best selling. Oh, Harry Potter getting in the end.
Oh, Harry Potter could totally snake it out.
As a series, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe as an entire series.
I guess if you're counting all 7 books. Just give me the fucking list. Thoughts on Harry Potter series.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't count that. No, I don't.
Sounds like you want to start a fight between J.K. Rowling and J.R.R. Tolkien.
Fuck J.K. Rowling.
Oh,
okay.
here we go.
Lord of the Rings would be 2. And then The Hobbit is 3? Why is it its own thing?
I don't know.
Le Petit Prince. Okay.
Is that the Lord of the Rings series or just all of them?
Trilogy, yeah. Well, the versions that I have...
The Hobbit is such a high-selling book because, like, kids can read it, too.
Yeah,
so,
it's a kid's book,
people just buy it nonstop.
The version that I have of Lord of the Rings, the pages keep going. Like,
you have
the King,
them all
like
just one?
1,200. But they're separate books.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I don't know why it does that. It must just
Neither
been
do I.
the version that I got. So, Chronicles of Narnia is 5. Twilight 6. Jesus Christ. So,
Circle of Time, my boy.
yeah, Discworld 2. And then 10 is Song of Ice and Fire. Interesting. So, we have the best-selling science fiction novel of all time, the second best-selling fantasy series of all time. I mean, why do you want to compare them like that?
I think it just speaks more to people nowadays. People these days.
People these days. It also, I guess it would kind of get it if they were coming out right now, because it's sort of like what the prophet... No, like...
Maybe they were arguing about this back in the day, and then everyone read it and was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and they just stopped reading it.
Coming out in their fanzines during World War II.
Yeah.
Almost getting taken over by the fucking world. But I don't know. I kind of get it more nowadays because you're driven by profit and you want more people to see the thing because the profits matter right now.
Sure.
If everybody stopped buying Dune and Lord of the Rings right now, there's enough of them in the world where
we'll be all right.
We'll be okay.
Yeah, you can get a hold of it. Get your
For a
hands
couple
on
centuries,
one.
I'm sure we'll be fine. So I don't know. I guess we'll just
we'd run out a copy of Lord of the Rings first because no one wants to read that Dune crap.
Yeah, or Lord of the Rings, more like Lord of the Stupid Things.
Whoa!
Right? Got him!
Dang, that was so good.
Dune, more like Dune. Lit. That was an opening topic.
It was.
Of some substance, maybe. So, my turn to give a story, because Ryan blessed us with a 3-parter.
I think,
Put in way more work than he needed to.
People definitely deserve a break from me.
Yes. Well, they just had me obnoxiously talking about Dune for a while, so I wanted... What author did we shit on last episode, besides Doom Master 456, or the fuck his name was?
What author did we on last episode?
Yeah.
Just like 20 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Oh, this is really bad on my part.
Bill Shakespeare.
Oh, that's true. We did.
We're going to read Shakespeare fanfic.
Whoa. Okay.
So, we're going to get a Shakespeare fan theory and a Shakespeare fanfic.
Sounds good to me.
So the fan theory, the first one, is from a website called craftyscreenwriting.com/Ophelia.html.
Okay.
Title. By the way, Ophelia is pregnant. Interesting. So this is from Hamlet. If you have not read Hamlet, can you give us a short synopsis?
Hamlet, Prince of Denmark.
Yep.
Goes off to wage war while he's away.
Goes to school.
Goes to school.
Pretty sure he goes to school.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, he goes to school while he's away. His dad gets killed. Hamlet the First. His dad gets killed mysteriously.
Yes.
By his uncle.
Yeah.
His uncle's making a power grab. He comes
his dad's
home.
brother.
His dad's brother. He comes home. His uncle has, he's going to marry his wife.
Play starts as Hamlet arrives home.
Comes home. Well, starts as 2 guards are talking and they see a ghost, the ghost being Hamlet's dad. Hamlet's dad, the ghost, talks to Hamlet, like, hey, I got killed. It was regicide by your uncle. So then Hamlet puts on a play to reveal that he knows what he knows, which anybody would do.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Bunch of plots ensue.
Yeah. It's a 5-act
Ophelia
play.
is like this girl that's crushing on him hard.
It's his girlfriend.
She's got like a dad who gets stabbed because he's behind a curtain.
Yes. So his dad and her brother think that Hamlet is going crazy.
Because he's spouting
Actually
all this
going
nonsense.
crazy.
He's also like, I'll make them think I'm going crazy.
Yes.
Because no one will be suspicious of me.
Yes.
Because they think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
Solid
He also,
plan.
I think he famously has 3 soliloquies in that play. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's 5. It's an odd number that's low. But his most famous one is To Be or Not to Be, which
Spoilers. To not be.
Yeah. Do we know the context of what he's actually saying in that? Do you actually not know?
It's been a while since I've seen
He's
Hamlet.
literally trying to figure out whether or not he should kill himself. To be or not to be.
Because he's so dejected at this
Yes.
point of,
Yeah.
of the story.
So at this point in the story, he has a plan to get the throne back, but he's not really figured out a good one.
That's a solid play plan. Didn't work?
No, it didn't work out for some reason. And so at one point, Ophelia, his girlfriend's dad and brother, start plotting, not against him, but like plotting to, figure out what's going on. He hides, her dad hides in a curtain.
Right.
And Hamlet finds out. I think he thinks it's someone else, actually. Too,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
yeah.
And he stabs it. And he kills her dad. Mm-hmm. So
Oh, and
Ophelia...
there's a duel between him and the
At
brother.
the very
Yes,
end.
at the very end, yes.
Ophelia goes crazy. Like, she just starts going insane. And she just wanders the stage at certain points, like, literally just, like, babbling. And all the while, Hamlet's like, yo, I love you, but stop being crazy. But also, I'm trying to deal with my own shit right now.
And I'm trying to do the crazy thing myself,
Yes.
so stop stealing my game.
Exactly. I'm the crazy one here. Personally, my favorite, like, soliloquy for Hamlet, or, thing he says to himself, is actually when his uncle is praying. So there's one point in the play, it gets cut out a lot, because, it's like 3 hours, so people cut it down. There's one point where his uncle's in church, and he walks in and he sees him praying with his, his head down, eyes closed, and the entire conversation...
Face down,
that he has-
ass up.
Yeah, that's the way we like to pray. His entire conversation with himself is whether or not he should kill his uncle.
Right there, because he's vulnerable.
He's vulnerable.
I do know this one,
But
yes.
he knows that if he kills them in the church while praying,
Bad juju.
he would go to heaven.
Bad luck.
So he's sitting there with this conflict of, I could kill him right now,
And he'll go to heaven.
but then I'm going to be rewarding him for what he's done. And so he has to sit there and
Yes.
let his uncle get away with it.
He's so vulnerable.
Yeah, it's Hamlet's my favorite Shakespeare play. I know, of fucking course it is. You and everybody else. I love Hamlet. I think it's a great show.
I feel like a lot of even me right there, I couldn't really run the synopsis off the top of my noggin. I feel like people know Hamlet, but maybe they don't necessarily know all the beats of it.
I guess it's true. Everybody knows the famous soliloquy. But it ends by him staging this like big feast, this big duel tournament. There's these things that are put on where Ophelia's brother knows, I think, that Hamlet's the better dueler.
Yeah, he
but
poisons the sword.
He poisons the sword, so all he has to do is nick him once, and Hamlet will die. At the same time, Hamlet wants to poison his uncle, and he creates a plot for that, but it turns out that his mom drinks the poison simultaneously while he gets stabbed, nicked with the sword, and then he kills Ophelia's brother. And then I think he also
Everyone
stabs
dies
the
except
king.
for like Hamlet's
Horatio.
friend. Yep, Horatio.
Yeah, Horatio. Also, at one point, Ophelia drowns.
Yes.
She drowns in a river. Which, by the way, Daisy Ridley will be starring.
I saw that. I was going to bring that up.
An Ophelia movie.
The movie looks kind of dope.
It's Hamlet from the view of Ophelia.
Looks kind of dope.
I think she's perfect for the part, honestly. So,
I would have preferred a Saoirse Ronan, but Daisy Ridley does the trick.
I think Saoirse's also a good actress, but I think Daisy's going to kill
Yeah,
her.
it'll be good.
Yeah. So, this fan theory is basically saying that in the play, one of the reasons why Ophelia, I guess, sort of loses
Sounds crazy.
has to do with the fact that she's pregnant and already her emotions and her hormones are different than they would normally be.
This is like the Da Vinci Code, but
Yeah.
for Shakespeare instead
Yes.
of Da Vinci.
So, has anyone noticed that Ophelia is pregnant? In all productions of Hamlet that I've seen, she is interpreted as an innocent girl in love with the doomed prince. He breaks her heart and her sanity goes with it. She drowns herself out of madness. But I think her madness has method to it. In Ophelia's first scene...
Methinks there's method to her madness.
Methinks-
This person has way too much time on their
Me
hands.
doth thinks there's methods to her madness.
Combine two phrases.
Act 1, Scene 3, her brother, Laertes, warns her to beware of Hamlet's affection for her. For Hamlet and the trifling of his favor hold it a fashion and a toy in blood no more. In other words, the prince is toying with you. Ophelia demurs, not more but so, but appears to submit to her brother's wishes. Later in the same scene, Ophelia's father, Polonius, complains, "'Tis told me he hath very oft of late given private time to you and you yourself.
Ooh.
Have you of your audience been most free and bounteous? That is, you've been spending a lot of time alone with this dude." Ophelia, in the time-honored fashion of daughters, claims the relationship is completely innocent. He hath importuned me with love in honorable fashion.
He's been importing some love,
He's been importing some love somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Act 2, Scene 2, Hamlet mockingly warns Polonius that conception is a blessing, but not as your daughter may conceive. Friend, look toot. Then, as Carl Malone notes in her blog post about...
Carl Malone?
Carol Malone, I'm sorry. I read that wrong.
As famous
basketball player. He was a Shakespeare scholar.
As the postman, Carl Malone.
Yeah. As Carol Malone notes in her blog post about this very article, Polonius observes how pregnant sometimes his replies are to Hamlet. If the audience thinks Ophelia is pregnant, having her put her hand on her belly once in Act 1 will do it. Then having Hamlet put on conceive... pun on conceive, and then having Polonius obliviously say Hamlet's replies are pregnant, while the groundlings are elbowing each other in the ribs at this point.
Hey,
she knocked her ass up, bro, and they weren't even married.
The groundlings, I love that. The groundlings even back in the day are like smart enough to pick on this. The groundlings being just like the common class watching the Shakespeare.
Act 3 kicks it up a notch. In Act 3, Scene 1, Hamlet probably overhears the king and Polonius setting Ophelia to spy on him. Ophelia listens to his famous so-called soliloquy, which is true, she comes in towards the end. Then he pretends to notice her for the first time, and he says with beautiful poetry and really amazing viciousness, "Nymph, in thy orisons be all my sins remembered," which is the end of the soliloquy.
Sure.
Orisons are prayers. Girl, remember all my sins are in your prayers, is what Nymph in thy
Girl,
orisons.
remember all my sins are in your prayers. Dude, that's a lit
line.
Cheesy 80s song, yeah.
And it could basically just mean pray for me. But Shakespeare is slyer than that.
Lamar song.
How can she remember his sins unless they sinned together?
Yeah, boy. Yeah, all my sins are remember. Like, I look at you, and I remember all the banging we did.
I clapped your cheeks.
So this person's building the theory that Ophelia was pregnant. I like this. Is this like a well-known thing in the world of like Shakespeare scholar?
Not that I know.
Or
This is the first I've ever heard of this.
This guy's going in. Carl Malone is going hard.
Carl Malone fucking knows his shit.
Yeah, no John Stockton needed.
Yeah, I know. Hamlet really lays into Ophelia in Act 3, Scene 1, the same one we were just talking about, ending by telling her, "To a nunnery, go."
Oof.
And so apparently at the time, nunnery was a slang for a whorehouse.
Oh, okay.
But it's also an excellent place for a family to send a pregnant, unmarried noblewoman, which is a common practice in history.
Interesting.
They would send them to a nunnery until they had the kid. The kid would be given to the nuns, and the lady would come back.
Oh,
so you would never know that she had a kid.
Oh man, that's kind of like where's Stacy? She's studying abroad this semester.
We all know what's going on, sister. So
dang, bro,
nunnery. That historically, that's totally accurate. That's a real thing.
This is some hot tea you're spilling right now.
I'm spilling some Shakespeare tea right now.
Yes.
This is a conspira tea. So the nunnery thing's totally true, and then the author of this writes, the nuns will take care of her and keep her out of sight. Baby can be handed off to someone else to raise it. Boom. Totally true. But it is the mad songs that Ophelia sings in Act 4, Scene 7 that really give away her secret.
Hell, let's do it.
More than half of her songs are songs of mourning, after all. Hamlet has just killed Ophelia's father. That might be why Ophelia warns, "Lord, we know what we are, but know not what we may be." After all, she is no longer the daughter of the king's chamberlain. She is now only the daughter of a dead old man.
True.
But perhaps she knows all too well what she soon may be, for shortly she sings, "Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day, all the morning betime, and I, a maid at your window, to be your Valentine." Then up he rose and donned his clothes, and duped the chamber door, let in the maid, that out a maid, never departed more. Why is Ophelia singing about a maid seduced by her lover? Aside from the songs of mourning, all her songs are songs of betrayed love. A few lines later, she is singing an even more poignant song. "Quoth she, before you tumbled me, you promised me to wed." He answers, "So would I had done by yonder sun, and thou hadst not come to my bed." It's hard to avoid the thought that Hamlet seduced her.
Wait, so how is this not a common theory?
This lady is just laying it out right then.
Have we just like not been reading? You know,
I've never heard of this.
I wouldn't put it past old Billy Shakes to like lay it on a little thick, so that the groundlings can understand one thing that's easy to understand, and then also have all this subtle context, so the higher class could enjoy it on another level.
Exactly.
Like it can be two simultaneous stories, and two classes that will never interact with each other wouldn't discuss it. It's not like they weren't going to hop on Twitter and be like, "Oh no!"
You weren't going to write Rotten Tomatoes. You literally only had Rotten Tomatoes.
Exactly.
At that point.
I'm going to keep this one in my pocket
My
today.
pocket. Yeah.
I think methinks this one be
Methinks
this one be worth a fresh tomato.
when you like first are studying Shakespeare in depth, you're literally supposed to go through and translate every line to modern English. So unless you don't do that in high school. You know what I mean? Actors and actresses do that so they know what they're saying.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably some weird thing where it's like she's freaking out because like her madness is akin to like
Yes.
the women's. Like maybe we're taking too modern
I think we are.
perspective on it, and we're
Yeah.
missing some of the subtext.
Yes. So it's hard to avoid the thought that Hamlet seduced her, basically hit it and quit it, for modern terms.
Sure.
When Ophelia returns...
Whatever
she
you
has-
do, don't name the kid Polonius. It's a stupid name.
Well...
Oh, where is this going?
When Ophelia returns, she has gathered herbs. There's rosemary. This is a quote. There's rosemary. That's for remembrance. Pray you love. Remember. The various herbs have symbolic meanings. They're well documented in scholarship. But the only herb she intends for herself is rue. There's rue for you, and here's some fruit for me. We may call it herb of grace, O Sundays. Oh, you must wear your rue with a difference. The symbolic meaning of rue is regret. Ophelia has much to rue, but the symbolic meaning is not the only one. The herb rue is a powerful abortifacient.
Honey, if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else?
You get what I'm saying?
RuPaul.
I don't know RuPaul. I know RuPaul, but I've never
Get
seen
the
Drag Race.
fuck out of here.
Okay. Back in the day, before there were birth control and modern contraceptives,
Yep.
everybody knew what things you should not be eating when you're pregnant.
How?
If someone's pregnant and they eat rue and then the baby aborts itself, you can probably guess that.
Just trial and error. Someone's like,
Yes.
God, I love Rue. Well,
Yes.
you better cut that out.
So, rue is a well-documented abortifacient.
So that's the one she keeps for herself.
Yes.
And maybe that's why it symbolizes regret.
Yes. So the idea is there's an herbery that notes lethally toxic, do not use during pregnancy.
They say that in the play?
No. Like an actual like herbiary,
Sure.
like that talks about it. Herbal abortifacients are mild poisons. You poison yourself to the point where your body decides it's too sick to support the growing embryo and it rejects it.
Dude, Shakespeare loves poison.
If you miscalculate in one direction, continued pregnancy in the other, you die.
No, you're beautiful.
No one would take rue as a poison. It's an ugly way to go. Presumably, Shakespeare would have given Ophelia something painless if she had intended to poison herself, like hemlock. A girl who has been seduced and abandoned need fear nothing but a broken heart, provided there is no evidence of her shame. But if she is pregnant, then there is no way to hide what she has done unless she can abort the child or kill herself. And indeed, shortly thereafter, Ophelia drowns herself.
So she does both. She aborts it and then kills herself.
Or maybe the rue doesn't take.
So
she's
she's
still
got
So the reason that she kills herself is because she's still trying to hold the secret.
And she's so shamed that she got hit and quit by
Hamlet, who's
Annie.
going crazy, who killed her dad, that she's freaking out. The conventional interpretation is that Hamlet has broken her heart and killed her father, but the play seems to suggest strongly that Hamlet has seduced her and to hint that she is pregnant as well.
I honestly, I think that probably gives Ophelia more agency because I always
Yes.
thought Ophelia was just like
A
she gets sad
throwaway
and then
female character.
she really just completely
Yeah.
loses steam at the end. But no, she has her whole arc happening underneath.
Yes, that you don't even notice is going
That
on.
might be worthy of a Daisy Ridley movie. What if this is in the whoa?
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That would be awesome if
I
she
mean,
was.
she has to have an arc of some sort, right?
Yeah. It's not hard to imagine Ophelia falling in love with the romantic prince and giving in to his passions. He has promised to marry her, and it is not an impossible promise. The queen later says of Ophelia in Act 5, Scene 2, I hoped thou shouldest have been my Hamlet's wife. Ophelia might well have hoped to become queen when Hamlet ascended the throne, as his uncle Claudius has promised. Hamlet has been away at Wittenberg, which is where he's going to school, long enough for Claudius to murder Hamlet's father and then to marry his mother Gertrude and then for the news to reach Hamlet. Presumably, this would be a few months at least, long enough for Ophelia to know she's pregnant. When he returns, she is hoping he'll do the right thing.
Oh, so he did this way before the events of
They
the
had
show.
sex before he went
So
off
how
to
long?
school.
So he went off to school, and then pretty much as soon as he left,
Yeah, she realized she was pregnant.
and then his father got
all that
killed,
goes down.
and then he got the news.
Yeah, so when he gets the
reason-
news, he bolts back, and Horatio, being his best friend, comes with him. Mm-hmm. Hamlet rejects her, kills her father, and destroys all hope that he will be king. Because remember, at one point he's sent to England to be executed with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Mm-hmm. That's the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Like that's where that all came from.
Right.
King Claudius tries to kill him.
but
he escapes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's when he comes back to the tournament, and, then
And
the fight
he's
happens.
crazy. He's just bonkers at that point. What will become of the mother of the doomed prince's bastard? There's only one way to preserve her honor, and she takes it. The point is, the next time someone puts on Hamlet, Ophelia really ought to be showing, okay? So I'm just going to say hats off to whoever wrote this. There's not really like an author. There's like notes, and I don't know if the notes reference the person that wrote it. It says Alex Epstein.
It's Karl Malone.
Karl Malone.
Karl Malone.
Whoever Alex Epstein.
You didn't kill yourself. You did a great job.
Yeah, I think that's a great fan theory, if I've ever heard one. And it's funny, too, because you think about this, and it's like, it is a fan theory at the end of the day.
But, like, a fan theory on Shakespeare is scholarly
It's
work. It's scholarly analysis.
So what is that going to say about future generations when they're doing fan theories on Sonic?
Is
it scholarly?
Not at all.
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's not at all, because it doesn't, there's no universality to Sonic.
You get what I'm saying.
I do get what you're saying.
With a real book that is being, like Harry Potter shit.
Yeah, you have an interesting case for Harry Potter, but I think, like, there is only one space, and it's occupied by Shakespeare.
At the moment. I'll agree. Because I love me some Shakespeare.
Who knows what's coming? Who knows what's coming? I don't think Harry Potter will usurp that.
No. So, I have found a fanfic that works through this problem.
Which problem?
The Ophelia problem.
Ah.
It tells the story.
Dude, that should be the name of this episode,
Ophelia.
The Ophelia problem.
The Ophelia problem.
I like that. That sounds like a cool mystery.
The title is Rue.
Let's ride.
Let's fucking do
I'm
this.
so into this right now.
The_alchemist wrote this. It's on Archive of Our Own. The summary.
So this person's serious about it. They don't have a dumb screen name.
No.
They made the screen name for this writing.
Dark fix-it fic about Hamlet and Ophelia's love affair, inspired by a piece called "By the Way, Ophelia's Pregnant."
Oh, so which one did you find first? Which one did you find first? The fic or the piece?
Fic. And then I read the piece, and I was like, "This is so fucking convincing." Content warnings for greater than canon levels of misogyny, sexual assault, and abortion. Right? So they're gonna bust into this wide open.
I would read like a Shakespeare fanfic that has abortion and be like, "Are you kidding? Like this is so." But this seems like
this is well thought out.
They're like, "Hey, then he was tackling this issue."
So this is explaining what happened, what this author imagined would have happened if it really was that Ophelia was.
Give it to me.
Love, she thought, would be something that came all at once, overwhelming her in a tidal wave of passion. It wouldn't be something that crept over her by degrees. She was wrong. Ever since, look, I even found a fucking
there's a typo.
Fucking typo in something that's supposed to be fucking great. Ever since she was tiny, she'd imagined going on adventures with Hamlet, taking care of him, rescuing him, and being rescued. As she grew, the nature of these fantasies changed, little by little, until the rescuing became little more than a perfunctory excuse for that long, naked embraces that followed.
Ooh.
She didn't even notice the first time her hands crept between her legs. Didn't understand what it meant. I think it's his hands crept between her legs, but it's okay. In Elsinore's chapel, the Castle Elsinore is where it took place, which is a real place. Beautiful castle. And the story of Hamlet...
Beautiful castle, the most beautiful, most pristine castle.
It is loosely based... The story of Hamlet is loosely based on a true story, apparently. It's Shakespeare allegedly loosely based a lot of stuff on true stories. Unless it's Romeo and Juliet, which we found out it wasn't real.
I feel like I've seen that at the bottom of an article. It's like, the true version of Hamlet, you'll never
guess. In Elsinore's chapel, there was a stained glass window depicting the Annunciation. Ophelia spent many hours in prayer staring up at the blue-clad Virgin. Virginity, she thought, would be something that went all at once.
Dude, this is the best fanfic we've ever read.
I'm really into it. On her wedding night, with blood and pain and judging from overheard conversations between giggling maidservants, perhaps a little pleasure too. She didn't connect it with what she had done alone in her bed at night. And as
that was her hand.
Yeah, okay, she's discovering herself as she's growing. As she grew a little older, she didn't connect it with what happened when she shared Hamlet's bed. It started as a joke on a cold night. He said he was cold and wanted her to warm him. She blinked and swallowed. It was altogether too much like her fantasies. Caught out.
Gorsh. No, I picture us goofy.
Yeah, you had
stop.
to do a fucking goofy golf, didn't you?
Oh, gorsh.
Have you ever seen that thing where it's like Goofy's the only Disney character with a son? Goofy fucks. Yeah.
Yes.
Good Lord. I'm gonna restart that one from the top just so we don't get any goofy gulps. It started as a joke on a cold night. He said he was cold and wanted her to warm him. She blinked and swallowed. It was altogether too much like her fantasies. Caught out after the castle gates shut and huddling in the snow, surviving locked up together in a Polish dungeon. The first night they held one another, but nothing else happened.
You replaced the word gulped with swallowed, because I wouldn't gulp.
Maybe.
That was good. That was expert.
But there was a second time, and when Hamlet noticed that what Ophelia was doing with her hand, he was curious about it. Giggling, they confessed to each other the things they had discovered about their own bodies. The third time, they began to experiment with what they could do to each other, and so it went on. If you'd asked Ophelia whether she was a virgin on the day Hamlet left for Wittenberg, then she would have said of course she was. But by the time he got back, her swelling belly told a different tale. He will marry me, she told herself, as she ordered the tailor to make her a loose gown for mourning the king. It's the fashion, she said airily. Laertes has written to me from Paris and says all the Parisian girls are wearing them.
Dude, that would make so much more sense why Laertes does not like Hamlet.
Yes.
That really informs that.
He really hates Hamlet. To her amusement, she was believed, and the daughters of the lesser nobility started dressing in the same style. Of course, everyone would know from the timing of it, but once he wedded her, that would no longer matter. They had spoken between themselves of marriage, and Hamlet had spoken to his mother too. There would be no bar to it. Despite the loose gown, he knew without being told. She had expected him to take her in his arms and tell her it would be all right, but instead, he went away, saying he needed to think. To be fair, his dad just died. To be fair, his dad just died, and his uncle married his mom, so he's also got some other shit going on.
Right. But I'm sure there's a point coming up where there's a point in the play where he's just like, I'm all in on this like revenge narrative. Like I'm not even sad anymore. Like let's do this.
Really pissed off and angry and crazy. It was only to be expected, she told herself. He had taken his father's death badly and his mother's marriage worse. It's too much for him all at once, but that doesn't mean he doesn't care. He came back after several hours, took her by the C word, and pushed her against the wall.
Dang.
Keeping her at arm's length and staring at her face. He didn't say a word, but only sighed, then backed away, staring at her. And Ophelia knew there would be no proposal of marriage. She wished with all her heart for a friend of her sex, but her playmates had always been Hamlet and Laertes, and her mother had died many years ago. She only knew of the things girls speak of when alone through eavesdropping on the servants. But that had at least been an education of sorts. One of the undercooks, a hairy-chinned old matron called Hilda, knew things that could help her. Please, she said, someone told me that if a girl's with a child and wants to get rid of it, there's something that can be done. There's rue for you, and here's some for me. Which is from the play. The next time she saw Hamlet, she grabbed her belly.
From that exact character.
Yeah, like Hilda. No. Ophelia says that. When she goes out in the forest at one point, comes back with a lot of like herbs and flowers. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing I was talking about, where she just starts like naming things.
Yes.
This author took that line and explained that Hilda told her. The next time she saw Hamlet, he grabbed her belly and called her a breeder of sinners. She had the rue, but hadn't done anything with it. Each night, she took it out of the little box by her bedside and stared at it. One more day, she told herself. Oh my gosh,
this is so good. This is so layered, like the agony of she wanted to do it, and then like you have in your hands, it's like got so real.
Yes.
Dang.
One more day, she told herself. Perhaps this madness will pass. One more day.
God, she's got so much
I'm assuming
she's got so much
madness.
hope. Yeah, she's talking like maybe.
I love him. Maybe he will come back.
Well, the rue's out for such a finality because she knows like when she goes down this.
Yeah.
Especially when is Hamlet set? Like the 1200s, 1100s,
no,
600.
I think 1400s.
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, such a taboo subject now. Even back then, just like once I go down this path.
Yeah.
I probably talk about having honor. I know where this ends for me.
And especially back in the day, depending on how long the baby is, that could also mean, she's dead too.
Yeah.
Rumor whispered the news of her father's death before Queen Gertrude could break it to her. She wanted to cry or scream, but good breeding had taken that from her. So instead, she sang.
What a line.
That night, she knew it was time. She understood there would be a mess, so she didn't do it in her chambers. By the river was the place. If it didn't work, or if the pain was too much to bear, that would provide her with another way out. She had wondered about lighting a fire out here, the way she and Hamlet and Laertes did when they were small, playing at camping, but decided there was too much that could go wrong. So she made the rue tea in advance and carefully laid 2 bottles of it in her basket. It was a peaceful evening. The weather mild and the sky cloudless. A nightingale was singing, and a family of weasels were frisking about on the riverbank. A little of that peace made its way into her heart as she drank. It was bitter and unpleasant, but that was only fitting. She would have found it harder to stomach had it been sweet. The pain started to come almost straight away, strong from the beginning, but getting more intense. Ophelia found herself thinking about her mother, 10 years dead, killed by giving birth to a sickly little boy who also died. Would things have been different if she had had a younger brother, she wondered? Several hours later, as the pain reached its height, she found herself calling out, "Mama," too far gone to care or even think about being overheard. She had spent many long hours imagining it since, making the decision. What it would feel like when the little corpse slithered out from between her legs.
Oh,
she thought perhaps she would see herself as Hamlet saw her, a disgusting, stinking thing, squeezing out death.
Oh, my goodness.
She had imagined another outcome, too. One of the servants stumbling on her corpse in the cold lawn. Perhaps Hamlet would weep over her then, since they would certainly clean the corpse before letting him see it. Gertrude would probably weep, and Laertes would be inconsolable. It was good that her father would never know. What she hadn't imagined was this. The baby was small, but its lungs were healthy enough as it screwed up its little face and screamed at the hideous unfairness of the world. She picked it up and wrapped it in her mantle, holding it close. Sometimes, love is something that comes all at once. Amazing continuity, narratively. She said sometimes love is something that comes all at once.
Yeah.
Beginning of the piece said she thought her first love would come all at once. With Hamlet.
Oh, my God.
But it came in layers. So now that she has a child...
That's true love. What she had with Hamlet was just fake infatuation, something that she wanted to be real, that she willed to be real, but now she sees this thing and she experiences real love.
And it comes all at once.
Comes all at once like a true love is supposed to.
Yes.
Now, man, in her dying moment, she's realizing that what she had with Hamlet was false.
Well, baby's alive. Baby's alive.
Yeah, but like... That keys you into like now she realized like she's feeling such a strong love. She's like
I love this child.
Hamlet. I never felt this way about this guy.
Still holding the crying child, she crawled on one hand and 2 knees to the riverbank. As she sat with her bare feet in the water, she held it in such a way that its exploring lips found her breast. She wondered whether she ought to baptize it before drowning it. It was difficult to say whether that would be more or less of a sin. "What are you doing?" She looked up sharply. It was Hamlet. She hadn't heard him coming. She grabbed a handful of crow flowers and held them out to him. "Here," she said, staring down at the baby, avoiding Hamlet's eyes. "What's this?" She assumed he was gesturing at the child. "Crow flowers," she said. He was kneeling by her side, reaching out and touching the baby's little hands. Gently, she slipped into the water. Her daughter wouldn't die alone, at least, though she cried bitterly from the cold. Better to get it over with, Ophelia supposed, and ducked both of their heads under. Arms were hauling her out. "What are you doing?" Hamlet repeated, but this time his voice shook. Ophelia was lying on the riverbank, looking up at him. She didn't answer. Hamlet was holding a baby, inexpertly jiggling it up and down. It was almost funny. That was the last thing Ophelia remembered before she fainted. Queen Gertrude insisted that Hamlet and Ophelia should be married at once, and little Polonia legitimized and baptized. It was a quiet affair for obvious reasons, not least that Ophelia was still unwell, but that did not stop King Claudius from celebrating in his usual drunken way, and as far as Gertrude was concerned, it was from a surfeit of strong drink that he died. When she was 6 months old, Polonia was betrothed to the son of Fortinbras, and thus war was averted. At the end of Hamlet, Fortinbras, from a rival army, just
walks in because they've all fallen apart. This internal family drama has killed the kingdom.
And he's taken over. And Horatio's like, fuck.
Yeah. He's holding everyone's corpse and he's giving
he's like,
really, bro? In on the soul with so this is an alternate ending. Okay, alternate ending.
The civil strife between King Hamlet, Queen Ophelia, and her brother took a longer time to heal, but heal it did, and King Hamlet II's reign was one of the most peaceful in Denmark's history. Finn. Thank you, The Alchemist.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
You liked it?
That was fantastic. I thought it was gonna like slide in, she was gonna drown, and it was gonna continue on with the actual ending. But man, wow, like that was after what we just went through. The word that came to my mind. This is like an intellectual digestive after the just dreck. That was Sonic High School.
Yeah,
that
I wanted to class it up a bit.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it.
That was absolutely phenomenal.
I am definitely convinced that she's pregnant in the story.
I'm a birther right now.
I'm a fucking birther right now. I'm an Ophelia birther. Just to stick with the fucking theme from the beginning, apparently.
Yes.
I'm a fucking Ophelia birther, and I really like the story.
Yeah,
solid.
Yeah, I mean, oh man, I was just trying to like jot down some thoughts as I was going. I love that line where she her father died and she wanted to cry, but good breeding and taking it out of her.
Yes.
Like what I can find that. What a good line that is. And then that when she talks about how it could go either way, with the passing of the baby, like how it's going to go out of her, and just like the shame and the guilt that she was going to feel, and then also even she's like, if I die during this, like what is Hamlet going to think? Like it's always going back to him.
Mourn me.
Yeah.
So I think she did love him, but it's not it's not the same as when the baby pops out.
Yeah,
because that's like
she
immediate.
feels like a whole nother level.
Yeah.
They, like you said, I didn't even get that parallel, that mirror. That was so good.
Love, she thought, would be something that came all at once, overwhelming her in a tidal wave of passion. It wouldn't be something that crept over her by degrees. She was wrong.
But she wasn't. Maybe she was wrong in thinking that that's the only way love can affect you.
Yeah. The baby was small, but its lungs were healthy enough as it screwed up its little face and screamed at the hideous unfairness of the world. She picked it up and wrapped it in her mantle, holding it close. Sometimes love is something that comes all at once.
Sometimes. Yeah. So that speaks to the different types and then like the duality of love.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's...
The line you're talking about is, rumor whispered the news of her father's death before Queen Gertrude could break it to her. She wanted to cry or scream, but good breeding had taken that from her. So instead, she sang.
Had taken it from her.
Yes.
Like how it's like, she's a human being, she needs to mourn, but like her station, the time, like being a woman, that robbed her of that human emotion.
Yeah.
So it further drove her to this terrible decision.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And only one conclusion, which was, I don't think I can have this baby. Yeah. So, Shakespeare fanfic, we did it.
Yeah, that was really good. Again, like,
Yes.
I would just say, like, Polonia. I mean, that's a little fan fiction-y. Polonia Palpatine.
Fuck you, you read it.
Exactly.
Snubbing your nose. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah. Incredulously, Polonia wed the... Yeah.
Yeah. But besides that...
Oh, no, I mean, that...
King Hamlet in ghost form came and had sex with Queen Gertrude.
Oh, man. That was. I think that is like what fan fiction could be.
Yes,
and that's what we talk about.
Yeah, because we found the scholarly argument that something was different in the interpretation. What do? We take it to its logical extent.
Yeah.
That she actually was pregnant. So what would happen? Hamlet would find her giving birth. I'm glad he found her, because if not, we knew what was going to happen.
We've already seen that story.
Yeah.
But do you think Hamlet would have acted in that way, given his mental state at the time in the show? I mean, this seems kind of like rose-colored glasses. To me, it's almost like she died when she went under that water, and her afterlife was like, oh no, like I'll save you. Let's get married. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. The abuser finally changed his ways.
Like every moment from the time she submerges her head on is the afterlife.
Could be.
That's what it seems.
That's
like.
a way to take. Yeah, because everything's perfect now. Because the king's fine.
Everything.
Fortinbras doesn't invade.
And like Claudius is like cool now. Hamlet doesn't want. Yeah.
I would say it depends on how the actor plays Hamlet. I've seen it played a couple different ways. I've seen it before where he just like totally descends into madness. I've seen it before where it looks like the actor doesn't even realize that he's supposed to be crazy. You know what I mean? He's like, it's to be or not to be, whatever, fuck it, who knows, I don't know. And they almost don't even understand what they're saying.
Sure.
Because one of the, it's, to be or not to be, that is a question, whether it is noble in the mind, suffer the things and arrows, or outrageous fortune, to take arms against the sea of trouble, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep, to dream, to die, to sleep, perchance to dream. So that whole thing is saying, kill myself or don't kill myself. Should I suffer through life because it sucks? I don't know. To die, to sleep. Maybe dying is like sleeping for a very long time. And if I'm sleeping, maybe I'm dreaming.
So maybe if you go underwater and die, you can dream of a better life for you and your baby.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like her, like Ophelia in this case.
Yeah. So it depends on how the actor plays the part and whether or not I think Hamlet would have taken it. Because...
Well, I think what you said right there, that breakdown, that is also explored. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to die, and then like they're showing you, let's say you die, perchance to dream. Yeah. This is her dream. This is her ideal state. I think maybe they tip their hand, because this person obviously knows Hamlet.
Something about it.
They obviously know what they're doing here.
They read it 2 more times than they were required to in high school.
They know it's a tragedy. They're not going to end this happy.
No.
But they would maybe see through that idea that Hamlet's putting out there. Like, maybe if you die and you're sleeping, you dream and life is better.
Yeah.
Like it is in this story.
Exactly.
So maybe we get to explore, because we obviously see Hamlet to his horrible conclusion in reality. Maybe we get to see the better conclusion that Ophelia reaches.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will say, touching on this and in general, Ophelia has almost become this archetype of like, I don't even know, like some like misunderstood female character that is nothing but abused.
Yeah.
Like just in popular culture in general, popular fiction, she's become this archetypal, whatever, however the fuck you pronounce it.
Archetypal,
yeah. Female character that is almost like treated at the expense of Hamlet.
She's like abused as a means to an end for the main character.
It's this like tragic female archetype.
Sure.
And there's beautiful paintings about Ophelia drowning.
Oh yeah, I've seen them. Yeah,
really
no,
morbid,
yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you're referring to.
They're just gorgeous, which is why I'm really excited about this Daisy Ridley movie, because even there's
a shot from the trailer
fanfic,
that like mirrors one of the paintings exactly.
Yeah, well, it's because that's when she's still alive, where the Hamlet jumps in. But they even make him look like he's. It looks like that Gillette commercial. Not cool, not cool. Like it looks like someone needs to stop Hamlet from like jumping in the water with her in that trailer.
Right.
But no, I'm very excited to see where this goes, because I think Ophelia is definitely a character that can be explored. I think she's an important character in literature, and I'm glad that this fucking fanfic even proves
When was this fan fiction written?
2014.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
What was I doing in 2014?
I was yanking it
In San Diego, yeah.
Yeah, and probably playing a lot of Skyrim. Realistically.
And meanwhile, NBA legend Karl Malone was delivering us just a fantastic analysis.
Yeah, the best analysis possible. So yes, that's our Shakespeare. I have a couple other Shakespeare fanfics we can get into, but maybe we'll save those for another time. If you really, really care, apparently a lot of people want Mercutio and Tybalt to just.
Oh God, good Lord!
Romeo and Juliet is like one of my least.
Yeah, well, it's like the horniest one too, so that's going to be a lot of smut right there.
Yeah, it's all smut fanfic for that. The fanfic for Much Ado About Nothing is pretty fun, but no one really gives a fuck about Much Ado About Nothing.
Yeah, I don't care about that one at all.
Yeah,
no, not interested.
Yeah, that's
Julius Caesar. Got any Julius Caesar fanfic floating around in there?
Surprisingly, not that much.
No.
Yeah, his histories don't have as many pieces of fanfic.
Okay, interesting.
The Tempest has a lot. Surprised there's not more Merchant of Venice, but
Tempest in high school.
In high school Tempest. I also really like the Merry Wives of Windsor. It's a fun show, but whatever. So yeah, we got it. Maybe if there's good reception to this show, we'll find more Shakespeare fanfic.
And we'll stop doing so much inane nonsense.
Yeah. Stop doing fucking video game characters bullshit. Man. Speaking of which, listen to episode 9, the Mario Murder Mystery.
It's our finest work.
It's our finest work. Seminal work. So yeah, what'd you think? Criticisms, compliments?
Yeah, well, like I said, I thought the criticism of like the kind of like happy ooey gooey ending there was dumb until you put it in the context of his legendary speech, with anybody going into Hamlet anything is aware of.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense. Like you said,
could be. Definitely.
To live and die, or perchance I think that.
What if there's a life after death?
Is there a break? Is there like a paragraph break after she goes under the water or anything? Is it or is that just like a sentence in a block of text?
In the fanfic?
In the fic. Is there like anything that would denote like.
There's a break.
There's a break right after she goes under? I think that's what that means.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and write an analysis of this. I'm going to put it on there. I'm going to quote the hell out of it. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
That Ophelia experiences the. Maybe the author is commenting that is the most just way to go, and then that's she's experiencing what Hamlet should have maybe in that instance. Would have saved himself a lot of grief.
Yeah.
Obviously leaving everyone behind her in a lot of grief as well, though.
Yeah. I also like the idea of Hamlet seeing his kid and being like, "Oh, I shouldn't be a piece of shit."
That's definitely not.
I just like that idea of like, I should be a responsible father now.
It's time to man up.
Yeah, man up.
Absolutely not.
I wish though. I wish that for him.
Beautiful language.
Yeah.
Again, to be like an edgelord and put abortion in Shakespeare seems very tempting, but that was incredibly respectful and deep.
I think it's handled well.
It kind of affected me. That was great.
Yeah.
I got no criticism. I think that's the best fan fiction we've ever read on this show.
If it's not the best, it's up there.
I think it's the best one.
Yeah. Especially because it just seems like it respects what it came from so much.
Yeah.
And the thing about fanfic where
it makes you think. There's really a lot to dive into here. Yeah. Like there's more layers we can go to. I feel like we got some stuff out of it, but there's a lot to get there.
If we reread Hamlet and then read this again, we could probably talk about it.
Sounds like we're doing it. I read 36,000 words of Sonic fanfiction. I could probably use a palate cleanser.
I mean, Hamlet's great all around. I hate that people cut Shakespeare shows, but if you don't cut Hamlet, it's going to be like a 5-hour play or 4-hour play. So you have to cut it, but it's great. I haven't read everything Shakespeare. I haven't seen everything Shakespeare. But from everything that I read, everything that I've seen, Hamlet definitely resonates with me the most. Just because I like the concept of, even back in the day, people were like, should I just fucking off myself? Like, what's the fucking point? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, before God is dead, Nietzsche.
Yeah.
We literally have someone...
Yeah, or even before, like, this, like, crisis of anxiety that we have, you know.
Before existential crisis, nihilism, any of that. We have this dude who is going through awful shit, and I'm not saying anybody's ever justified to kill themselves, but, you know, if the play ended with Hamlet offing himself, you'd be like, well, I kind of get it. Like, your dad died, your mom's awful, you accidentally killed your girlfriend's dad, your girlfriend died, you know, what? Like, you have to do a lot of work to get your life back in order after that. And he doesn't even end that way. He says, no, I'm going to fight my way out of this. So, like, I don't know. I feel like Hamlet is something that I understand. Romeo and Juliet, love, blah, 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 timeless, whatever. Like a lot of the other, even Merchant of Venice has a great message.
Sure,
whatever.
yeah.
But I really feel like Hamlet, especially nowadays, with
Like all the paranoia and the madness and
screaming into the fucking void of Twitter, hoping to be heard.
Yeah.
Here's a guy doing the same exact thing.
Sure.
And then also looking at someone and going, I have so much contempt for you, and I could really do something to damage you, but I have to hold off. I have to contain myself.
I have to show restraint.
Yeah, and I like the lessons there. I like that. So Hamlet's always probably my favorite.
Well, I mean, I think that's why everyone loves Billy Shakes, is that, you know, as we go through cycles in our culture, different points and different pieces will become resonant and more timely. And I think at this time, maybe Hamlet is specifically... Yeah. Instead of like Richard III, which everyone thought Kevin Spacey go around the world telling everybody about despots, but you know,
culturally speaking, maybe Hamlet can hit home a little more than whatever politically
charged. Yeah. Sure.
Or fucking Macbeth with Donald Trump that they did in New York.
That was Julius Caesar. I went to that. Yeah. It was phenomenal.
I'm sure
it was phenomenal.
Yeah. Look at it. We brought it back to Trump. Yeah. We came full circle.
Full circle.
This is full circle. This is the best episode. It's the best. It's the best fanfic.
People are saying it's the best episode.
I've heard it.
People everywhere are saying it's the best.
Yeah. So, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed our Shakespeare extravaganza.
Another RuPaul reference. Look at you.
I don't know. RuPaul. I didn't make the first one.
Look at you. Yeah, you did.
Lord Almighty. Ryan, what are you stoked on, bro?
Oh man. Honestly, after listening to this, I'm stoked to go. I've always loved reading plays. I recently got and was beginning to read Equus, which I knew was the play that Daniel Radcliffe was naked.
Yeah, he hung on.
I didn't realize he also banged a horse in that show. Yeah. Didn't know what that show was about. And I read the back of it, and I was like, this is obviously a joke, but no, it's real. So I'm getting more into that, like reading plays and even like might go back and read Hamlet like this. Because I went to like a street fair, and they have like complete works of Shakespeare, like 1 through what, like, you know, half. And I was like, oh, cool. I haven't read The Tempest in a long time. It's like 5 cents. Let me buy that. Like, I'm gonna crack that open, take a look at it.
Do it. I feel like Shakespeare is drastically misunderstood.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if I'm the one to understand it, but it's like looking at a painting almost. Like, I can get something for myself out of it.
I think that's it. Yeah, I think, to me, I'm not saying I understand all of Shakespeare. There's a ton I don't understand. I've put considerably more work into Hamlet to understand than other ones. I won't fight you on that one. I definitely have. But I feel like you can get something out of it. I'm glad you're going to go and crack it open.
Yeah, I mean, and I've always loved, like, obviously we're doing this. I always love, like, literary analysis. Yeah. So, I'm excited to just get it. And I think, like, short stories and plays specifically have a lot to say and a shorter time to say it, so they really make it dense.
A value of a short story is sometimes you have a great idea, but you don't really have a great way to go past that great idea. It's like when you watch an SNL skit, and the first minute's hilarious because of the concept, and then like 4 minutes later, you're like, you made the joke.
Yeah, it's
you're
done.
Good.
It's done. Get out of there.
So
gravity is the soul of wit and all that. Yeah. It's just an economical way to consume it. So yeah, I guess I'd say I'm stoked on that short form storytelling, and I'm going to get into that a little more. I'm done with take a break from novels for a little bit and do some short stuff.
I just finished a 670-page novel, so I'm going to jump into a 605-page one next.
I don't have that stamina. I can't do that.
I'm logistically speaking, probably going to read a graphic novel first because I need like a palate cleanser or something simple and quick. Plus, my Goodreads is totally lacking. I was going to try to finish 50 this year, and I'm at 3. No, I'm at 4. Fuck you. So
boom.
I'm not on pace though.
On pace.
My point. So maybe I'll get on pace with graphic novels. I'm stoked on the DC Universe Harley Quinn show.
Okay.
I first saw the advertisement. And I said, that looks like hot garbage. And I told myself I wouldn't watch it. My roommate, he was using my DC Universe and watched the first episode and said, why the fuck aren't you watching Harley Quinn? And I said, I don't know. Is it good? And he said, it's amazing. Binged the first 7 episodes.
How many episodes are there? You make it
13
sound like
right now.
Okay.
There's 20. They're 20 minutes apiece. There's 13 of them. Binged the first 7. Fell in love. The first episode alone is great. There's an episode with Robin, but it's Damian. Hilarious. And the whole show is Harley Quinn liberating herself from the Joker and trying to get into the Legion of Doom by herself. But then she obviously has to create like a team to get her there with, to get there with her. My favorite character is Clayface, voiced by Alan Tudyk, who also voices the Joker. And Clayface in the comics is an actor. So they have him as a Shakespearean classical actor. And so every time, because Clayface can turn into other people. He can look like other people. So there's this one part where they're like, all right, Clayface, we need you to go in and tell this guy that you're delivering his mail. And he's like, but what's my motivation for delivering the mail? And they're like, there's no motivation. It's you just give him the mail and then distract him. He's like, oh, why do I love the mail so much? Perhaps I was abused as a child, and the only solace I had at the outside world was the mailman. And like, he's awesome. I fucking King Shark, which is like this big brooding powerhouse in DC Comics, is a hacker, and he hates like violence. Awesome, I love that. So it's
and this is again only on the DC Universe.
Only on DC Universe as of right now. It'll be on HBO Max when it comes out, but it did so well critically that they already gave it a second season that's coming out in April. So. I mean, it's good. It's really good. The voice acting in it's awesome. Their depiction of a lot of the characters are interesting. Bane is the luchador version, but he has the Tom Hardy voice, and it's just hilarious.
No one could understand him.
Yeah, and Bane's like the most petty person in the world too. Like the episode I just watched, he wants to blow someone up because he keeps getting his name wrong when he gives him a smoothie. He says Bane, and they write Bang. So he just wants to blow him up, which is funny. And then there's one episode where Harley crashes Penguin's nephew's.
Is this like for kids? Like a kids cartoon?
No, it is extremely graphic with the blood.
Because I know some of our suck my fanfickers out there like to do
don't watch this with
the
your
kids.
Children. No. The language is extremely adult. One of the funniest things of the show is like how violent it is. Okay. Like cartoony, but it's like
Tom and Jerry violence, but with like blood and
like bones, like cracking out of people. And stuff. There's one where her grandparents keep getting shot, and like her grandpa gets shot, and then you see this big hole, and you see his spine sticking out. It's really funny,
almost like Happy Tree Friends level.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But it's just like fucked up. So it's great. Watch Harley Quinn. I don't have enough time to talk how much I like the show so far. So I only have like 3 episodes left, and it's great.
Awesome.
So I'm stoked on Harley Quinn.
That's great.
Yes. So look at that. We got to the end. We did our serious Dune v. Tolkien. We talked about Shakespeare, and then we talked about comics. I somehow managed to slip that in.
And we made 2 RuPaul references. I'm proud of you, man.
You're saying me like I did it too.
I'm proud of you for doing that.
Follow us on Twitter. Again, if you like us and we didn't turn you off with the Donald Trump talk, turn us over to some friends, perhaps give us a rating and a review. Sorry if you hear that drilling noise. There's construction in the building going on, and it just decided to start up at the end of this. So if you don't hear it, then I'm crazy, and it doesn't mean anything.
I don't hear anything. I think you're crazy.
I know for a fact you're
I think you've been reading too much Hamlet.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
I honestly don't know what you're talking about.
I'm a method actor, so I'm going fucking bonkers.
So I've developed a neuroses just so I can go bat and crazy and finish it.
But thank you for listening. Like I said, subscribe to those things, share us with your friends. And Ryan, is there perhaps something we should remember?
I just would like to thank you for bringing us this wonderful story today. I really do think this was like a soothing literary balm. After this long time of just reading crazy fan fictions. So, thank you.
Sweet.
I'm grateful for you doing this. I'm grateful for you listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And I hope you enjoy your day bigly. Okay?